Well, the gloves came off again as Republican presidential hopefuls faced off in their final debate before the Florida primary. Many of the heated exchanges came between frontrunners Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney. Florida has one of the highest rates of foreclosures in the nation, so it certainly wasn't surprising that the issue of making money off of those foreclosures came up quickly.
Maybe Governor Romney, in the spirit of openness, should tell us how much money he's made off of how many households that have been foreclosed by his investments. But let's be clear about that.
This is fun. First of all, my investments are not made by me. My investments for the last 10 years have been in a blind trust, managed by a trustee. Secondly, the investments that they've made, we've learned about this as we made our financial disclosure, have been in mutual funds and bonds. I don't own stock in either Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. There are bonds that the investor has held through mutual funds. And Mr. Speaker, I know that sounds like an enormous revelation, but have you checked your own investments? You also have investments through mutual funds that also invest in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Boy, the zingers went back and forth last night. The latest CNN ORC International survey has 36% of likely Florida voters supporting Romney. He's followed closely by Gingrich, who earned 34% of the support. Rick Santorum and Ron Paul trail behind substantially. Okay, political analyst John Dadian is here to break this all down for us. Your thoughts, first of all, on last night's debate.
Good morning. It was a slugfest, as we know. It was interesting. We knew Romney and Gingrich were going to go for each other, but Santorum still in a swinging. He got his blows in, and he's still trying to remain credible.
How much does Florida matter, the Florida primary, to the rest of the nation? Most of us have not had a say in who we want as the Republican contender in this race. So will Florida kind of make or break and maybe have another person drop out?
There are really two things going on here. One is perception, and then the other one is what the numbers are trying to get are delegate votes. Well, Florida has been cutting half of their delegate votes. They're supposed to have 99. The National Party cut them down to 50 because they didn't want to obey the rules or whatever. So whoever wins, it's really not going to be that big a deal as far as going towards the convention, but they're hoping for it to continue that momentum, and it's perception. That's the way it's going to make a difference.
Something that's come up this week, and also came up in December, is that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that she knows something about Newt Gingrich. She alluded to it again in an interview this week, but she hasn't said what that is exactly. And then a spokesperson sort of clarified that what she knows is that he won't win the election. Give me your thoughts on this. And she was a part of the panel that investigated him when he was under investigation for the ethics violation.
And he got one of the largest fines, when he was in the House member. The best line I can use is what Newt Gingrich, when he was told what Nancy Pelosi was saying. I thought this was a great response because he has always been known for a good soundbite. He says Nancy Pelosi is the same as his ex-wife. It's a bitter woman who he hasn't lived in the same house with for over a decade.
Ooh.
So that was pretty harsh. And keep in mind also, it's going to be kind of hard for her and both on both sides of the fence, because remember they cut a commercial together.
They did, sitting next to each other on a bench, if I believe.
You can remember it's quick, and now he says it's the worst mistake he ever made. So they're both trying to backpedal from when they did get together. So they have a very strange relationship, and they've been very bitter at times, and I think you're going to see that.
Okay, let's go to our local election, the mayoral race right here in San Diego. Candidate Nathan Fletcher and candidate Carl DeMaio released how much that they have brought in. Was it from July of December of last year as far as campaign contributions?
That's right, July 1st. So that'd be for a 6-month period. And that is important to note because the first period, what they released, was only for a 25-day period, which they did very well. So this was the first solid 6-month period.
Okay, and what we found out is that candidate Carl DeMaio brought in over $900,000, including $81,000 of his own money.
That's total, including the 25-day period.
Okay, and then candidate Nathan Fletcher brought in somewhere in the neighborhood of $750,000. Give me your thoughts on these numbers. Are these large numbers for a local mayoral race? Large
numbers, yeah. This is, again, the first 25-day period, and then this period is really, even us insiders are saying this is really substantial. And this tells you several things. It tells you that they're aggressive. It tells you that they're taking this serious. Now, keep in mind a couple of other little dynamics are going on here. Those are credible numbers, but you notice it's a tough campaign, so they're trying to outjockey each other. Coincidentally, they both released it the same day because they're not legally, it's not going to be released for another couple days. So they were trying to get out in front, but they didn't know the other one was going the same day. Now, of course, the big question everybody's watching is the third major Republican candidate, Bonnie DeMonis. We're waiting for those figures to come out. And again, at a minimum, they'll come out next Tuesday, but she may release them now since the other two are out.
And Bob Filner's numbers are not out yet either.
But we're not expecting big numbers because, again, of the Filner strategy, which he has said openly, is he pretty much expects to be in the runoff just because he's a sole Democrat and other reasons. So I don't think that he's been as aggressively fundraising these others. The others had to be aggressively fundraising because if any of the three candidates show that they're not competitive, that's going to actually turn the momentum around. I don't see that happening.
Are you surprised by how soft-spoken and relatively friendly this race has been so far between the three Republican contenders?
Well, again, seriously, I know everybody's been running for about a year and a half, really kicked off January 1st. That's when you really start getting into it, and you're going to see it exponentially escalate now. I've always used the phrase that the brass knuckles are on. I think now you're going to start seeing swings start to happen.
Okay. John Dadian, thank you so much for being here with us this
Heather.
morning. We certainly do appreciate it.